The alien queen was dying, betrayed by her own people, and the last words she whispered were not a plea, but a warning. "Human, do not touch me." No human had ever heard fear in a Zephyri ruler's voice before, and no human had ever stood this close to one. Lieutenant Mara Cade stood frozen at the edge of the shattered throne chamber, staring at the impossible scene in front of her. Blue blood pooled across the crystal floor, glowing faintly under flickering emergency lights. The air hummed with unstable energy, as if the ship itself was holding its breath. The Zephyri flagship, once the most feared vessel in known space, drifted silent and broken beyond the viewport. 3 days ago, the Zephyri Empire had gone dark. No signals. No fleets. No threats. For the first time in 40 years of war, the galaxy was quiet. Too quiet. Mara had been sent alone. Not because it was safe, but because it wasn't. Zephyri biology was deadly to humans. Their skin carried a powerful electrical discharge that could stop a human heart instantly. Boarding parties had learned that lesson the hard way during the war. Now, against all logic, the missing queen was here. Alive. And dying. Queen Zyravel sat slumped against her fractured throne, her tall frame barely upright. Her once radiant skin was cracked and dim, the living lightning beneath it sputtering weakly. One of her 4 arms hung uselessly at her side, torn by plasma fire. Her crown lay shattered at her feet. "You should not have come," the queen whispered, her silver eyes locking onto Mara's visor. Mara swallowed. "Your empire stopped responding. We detected your ship drifting near human space. I was sent to investigate." A faint, bitter sound escaped the queen. "Investigate, or finish what my traitors began." Mara stepped forward, then stopped herself. Training screamed in her head. "Don't get closer. Don't touch anything. Don't trust appearances." "I didn't attack you," Mara said carefully. "And neither did humanity." "I know," the queen replied. "That is why you are here. And why they are dead." Mara glanced around the chamber. Zephyri guards lay scattered across the room, their crystalline armor scorched and cracked. These were not wounds from human weapons. These were internal. Close range. Personal. "A coup," Mara said quietly. "Yes." The queen's voice trembled. "My generals believed peace made me weak. They believed humans would one day enslave us. They believed war was safer than trust." Mara felt a chill. History sounded the same in every species. "They planned to kill me," Queen Zyravel continued, struggling to breathe. "Then blame humanity. My death would ignite a war that would burn your colonies first." Mara's heart pounded. "Then we need to stop that. Tell me where their fleets are." The queen closed her eyes. "I cannot. The data is locked to my neural core. When I die, it dies." Mara clenched her fists. This was worse than she imagined. "Then we keep you alive." A weak, sad smile formed on the queen's face. "Human, you must not handle me." "I know the risk," Mara said. "But—" "No," the queen interrupted, her voice suddenly sharp. "You do not understand. Even now, my skin can kill you. My nervous system is collapsing. The discharge is unstable. One touch, and your heart will stop before you can scream." Silence filled the chamber. The ship groaned around them. Mara looked at the blue blood flowing across the floor. Looked at the wounds. Looked at the dying leader of a species that had once tried to erase humanity from the stars. And felt something unexpected. "Pity. You chose peace," Mara said. "Even when your people hated you for it." "Yes," the queen whispered. "I believed humans were different. Fragile. Short-lived. But endlessly inventive. You survive not because you are strongest, but because you adapt." Mara's jaw tightened. "Then let us prove you right." She activated her medical scanner from a distance. Red warnings flooded the display. Massive internal damage. Failing bioelectric organs. Rapid energy loss. Human medicine wasn't designed for this. Not even close. You cannot save me, the Queen said softly. You should leave. Warn your world. If I leave, Mara replied, your people attack us believing we murdered you. Billions die. That's not an option. The Queen studied her through fading vision. You are stubborn. Human trait, Mara said. She scanned the fallen guards again, focusing on their armor. It was designed to channel Zephyri energy safely. Insulated. Controlled. An idea began to form. A reckless one. How does your electrical system regulate itself? Mara asked. The Queen frowned. Why does that matter? Because systems can be stabilized, Mara said. Even failing ones. The Queen hesitated, then answered. Our blood carries charge. Organs beneath the skin distribute it. Injury causes overload, then collapse. Like a power grid during a surge, Mara muttered. She moved to a fallen guard, carefully removing one of the armored gauntlets without touching the body. The material was warm. Still faintly humming. What are you doing? The Queen asked. Thinking like a human, Mara said. We're not great at biology, but we're very good with broken systems. You cannot power that armor, the Queen said weakly. It responds only to Zephyri energy. Mara pulled a compact power cell from her belt. Standard issue. Nothing special. Then I'll cheat, she said. The Queen's eyes widened slightly. Human, if you fail. I know, Mara said, fitting the power cell into the gauntlet's interface. But if I do nothing, everyone loses. The gauntlet flickered. Then stabilized. Mara took a slow breath and slid her hand inside. The armor hummed, but did not kill her. The Queen stared in shock. Impossible. Human, Mara said, voice steady despite the fear screaming in her chest. Means impossible is just something we haven't tried yet. She stepped forward and touched the alien Queen for the first time in history. The ship trembled. Outside, far beyond the drifting flagship, Zephyri war fleets were already moving. And humanity had no idea what was coming next. The moment Mara's armored hand touched the alien Queen's skin, every warning her training had ever drilled into her screamed that she should already be dead. Her heart didn't stop. The gauntlet hummed louder, vibrating with barely controlled energy. Blue light crawled across its surface as if the armor itself was fighting to understand what it was touching. Mara froze, afraid that even breathing might trigger something catastrophic. Queen Zyravel gasped, not in pain, but in shock. You live, the Queen whispered. How? Mara swallowed, her voice tight. Human engineers hate being told impossible. We take it personally. The electrical surge rolled through the gauntlet and stabilized, flowing into the power cell at Mara's wrist instead of into her body. Numbers flashed across her suit display, warning after warning stacked on top of each other. This setup won't last long, her suit AI warned. Power overload in 3 minutes. 3 minutes is better than 0, Mara muttered. She forced herself to focus. The Queen's wounds were severe. Deep plasma burns had torn through both flesh and the glowing organs beneath the skin. Blue blood flowed too fast. If this were a human, she would have been dead already. Your energy system is collapsing, Mara said. I can't fix it, but I might be able to slow it down. The Queen's silver eyes followed every movement of Mara's hands. You risk your life for an enemy ruler. Why? Mara didn't answer right away. She pulled a medical sealant from her kit, adjusted its settings, and tested it on a piece of broken crystal. Because humans don't survive by thinking short-term, she finally said. We learned that the hard way. She pressed the sealant gently along the edge of the largest wound. The material reacted strangely with the alien flesh, glowing for a moment before hardening. The bleeding slowed, then eased. The Queen inhaled sharply. That should not work. Good, Mara replied. That means it's working. Time slipped by faster than Mara liked. Sweat ran down her back despite the suit's cooling system. Every second, the gauntlet grew hotter. Her power cell drained rapidly, trying to balance forces it was never designed to handle. Outside the throne chamber, The ship groaned again, long and deep, like a dying animal. "The traitor fleets," the Queen said weakly. "They will not wait." "Then we need that data," Mara replied. "Now." The Queen hesitated. "Access requires my full neural focus. I am fading." Mara looked around the room, then back at the throne. An idea formed, dangerous, reckless, very human. "Then let's make this easier for you," she said. She dragged a portable power unit closer and linked it to the throne's control interface. Sparks flew as incompatible systems protested. Mara ignored them and forced the connection. "What are you doing?" the Queen asked. "Sharing the load," Mara said. "If your body is a battery, then I'll give you backup." She rerouted power into the throne systems, stabilizing the Queen's neural interface. The lights above flickered, then steadied. The Queen's eyes widened as clarity returned to them. "You are reinforcing my mind." "For a little while," Mara said. "That's all we need." The throne activated with a deep hum. Holographic symbols burst into the air, spinning and shifting into shapes Mara's translator struggled to keep up with. Star maps formed, then expanded, hundreds of systems highlighted in red. Mara's breath caught. "So many." "These are the targets," the Queen said. "Human colonies. Trade routes. Listening posts. They planned this carefully." Mara recorded everything, her suit transmitting the data back to her ship in tight, encrypted bursts. If even one of these fleets reached Earth space unchallenged, it would be a massacre. Suddenly, alarms screamed through the chamber. "Incoming signals detected," her suit AI announced. "Multiple HFY vessels exiting hyperspace." Mara spun toward the viewport. Outside, brilliant blue flashes tore open space itself. "Warships. Dozens of them." "They are here," Mara said. The Queen's voice hardened. "They sensed my energy spike. They know I still live." Mara's mind raced. "Can you transmit a command? Something to stall them?" The Queen shook her head. "They no longer obey me. They obey fear." Mara glanced at the fallen guards, the broken weapons, the shattered throne. Humanity was outnumbered, outgunned, alone. "Then we change the story," Mara said. She opened a channel to her ship. "This is Lieutenant Mara Cade. Initiate broadcast protocol Alpha Human." Her pilot's voice crackled back, tense. "That protocol hasn't been used in decades." "Use it," Mara ordered. "Now." Outside, human technology came alive. Instead of weapons fire, the human ship began transmitting. A wide-spectrum signal flooded space, piggybacking on HFY communication frequencies, bouncing from ship to ship. "What are you doing?" the Queen asked. "Something humans are very good at," Mara said. "Talking." The transmission carried images. Not threats. Not demands. Truth. Footage of the throne room. The dead guards. The wounded Queen. The human risking her life to save an alien ruler. Across the incoming HFY fleet, confusion rippled. "They are seeing this," the Queen whispered. "Yes," Mara said. "Every ship. Every soldier." The lead HFY warship hesitated. Weapons powered down slightly. Then another did the same. A new signal came through, unofficial, unstable, filled with static. "She lives," a HFY voice demanded. "You told us she was dead." Mara stepped into the frame. "She lives because humanity refused to let your lie become a war." Silence followed. Then, slowly, painfully, something unprecedented happened. The HFY fleet stopped advancing. The Queen watched in disbelief as ship after ship broke formation. "They are questioning," she whispered. "Humans do that too," Mara said. "It's how we survive." But the gauntlet alarm screamed again. Power failure imminent. Mara staggered as the gauntlet began to shake violently. She ripped her hand away just in time, collapsing to one knee as the armor sparked and went dead. The Queen cried out, her systems destabilizing again. "Mara," the Queen gasped. You must leave. You have done enough. Mara pushed herself up, breathing hard. Not yet. Outside, some HFY ships still advanced, hardliners, loyal to the traitor generals. This isn't over, Mara said grimly. The Queen's eyes burned with a spark that hadn't been there before. No. It is just beginning. And for the first time in generations, alien and human stood together, against a war built on lies. The throne chamber shook as weapons fire echoed through the HFY flagship. Not all of the incoming ships had stopped. Some commanders still believed the lie. Some wanted blood more than truth. Mara Cade forced herself back to her feet, her muscles burning. The gauntlet lay smoking on the floor, its power cell melted and useless. She was human again now, fragile, unshielded, and standing next to a being who could kill her with a touch. The Queen's breathing grew ragged. Without the stabilizing power, the glowing lines beneath her skin flared wildly, then dimmed. Mara, Queen Zyravel whispered. You must leave. You have given my people doubt. That is more than I hoped for. Doubt isn't enough, Mara said. Not when fleets are still moving. Another explosion rocked the ship. Somewhere deeper inside the hull, metal screamed as something important tore apart. Her suit AI spoke again. Structural failure spreading. Estimated time to core breach, 9 minutes. Mara exhaled slowly. 9 minutes. Humans had done a lot with less. She opened a channel to her ship. Status. The pilot's voice came back strained. We're holding position. The HFY fleet is split. Half have powered down weapons. The rest are targeting us. Can you hold? Mara asked. For a while, the pilot replied. But not forever. Mara closed the channel and turned back to the Queen. Your people listen to symbols. Queens. Authority. Yes, the Queen said faintly. But I am weak. They see weakness. Mara shook her head. Humans learn something important early on. Leadership isn't about never falling. It's about what you do after. She stepped toward the shattered throne controls again, ignoring the warning alarms screaming in her helmet. What are you planning? The Queen asked. Something risky, Mara said. So, a human solution. She accessed the throne's broadcast system and overrode every safety lock she could find. The display flared bright, projecting the Queen's image across the ship, and beyond it, into open space. The Queen gasped. You expose me to them. Yes, Mara said. Because hiding hasn't worked. The hologram stabilized, showing the Queen exactly as she was, wounded, bleeding, but alive. No filters. No lies. Mara activated the broadcast. HFY fleet, Mara said, her voice carrying through every open channel. You were told your Queen was dead. You were told humans murdered her. Both are lies. The Queen raised her head slowly, summoning what strength she had left. Her voice followed, quiet but steady. I live, Queen Zyravel said. And I was betrayed. Not by humans, but by those who feared peace more than war. Across space, thousands of HFY listened. I chose peace, the Queen continued. Not because humans are weak, but because they are dangerous in a way war cannot defeat. They adapt. They cooperate. They refuse to stop trying. Mara felt her throat tighten. Look at me, the Queen said. A human stands beside me. Alive. Because she chose courage over hatred. Outside the viewport, weapons fire slowed. Some ships powered down entirely. Others wavered. But a new signal cut through the broadcast. Sharp, angry, dominant. This is General Craith, a voice snarled. The Queen lies. She is compromised. Humans poison her mind. Mara clenched her jaw. There it is. The Queen's eyes hardened. Craith. You stand where loyalty once lived. You doomed our empire, Craith replied. You would make us kneel. I would make you survive, the Queen answered. Craith laughed. Then die knowing your weakness ends with you. The signal cut. Alarms screamed louder. They are firing on the core, Mara said. If they breach it, the ship will be destroyed, the Queen finished. Along with us. Mara's mind raced. Running wouldn't help. Fighting wouldn't work. But humans had survived worse by doing something no one expected. She opened a direct line to the fleet. Not official. Not military. Just human. This is Lieutenant Mara Cade, she said. To any Zephyri listening who doubts what you've been told, ask yourself one thing. The hardliner ships advanced again. What does your enemy gain by saving your queen? Silence spread across the channels. Mara continued. Humans gain nothing from this except a chance to stop a war. If we wanted you dead, we would not be here. The Queen looked at Mara, understanding dawning. Humans fight, Mara said. But we also build. And we don't abandon someone just because saving them is dangerous. One by one, Zephyri ships broke away from Crather's formation. The general's fleet shrank. Fury filled his voice. Cowards. No, the Queen said softly. They are choosing. But Crather's remaining ships opened fire. The flagship shuddered violently. Cracks spread across the walls. Blue light poured through fractures in the hull. Core breach in 3 minutes, the AI warned. Mara grabbed onto a support rail as gravity fluctuated. Queen, we need to get you out. There is no time, the Queen said. My body cannot endure transport. Mara stared at her. Then we make time. She sprinted toward the fallen guards, grabbing their armor modules, power conduits, energy dampeners, anything she could carry. She didn't fully understand Zephyri tech. She didn't need to. Humans were good at connecting things until they worked. She returned to the throne and began wiring the devices together, forcing power flow where it wasn't meant to go. What are you building? The Queen asked weakly. A lie breaker, Mara said. A beacon. She connected the final conduit and activated it. A pulse of controlled energy surged outward, not violent, not destructive. It carried data, truth, neural signatures, biological proof. Proof the Queen was alive. Proof she had been attacked by her own generals. Proof humanity was not the enemy. Across space, Zephyri systems reacted. Commands halted. Weapons shut down mid-cycle. General Crather's signal flared once more, filled with rage and fear, then vanished. The hardliner ships went dark. The battle was over. Mara collapsed against the throne, exhausted. The ship still groaned, but the explosions stopped. The Queen looked at her, silver eyes filled with something close to awe. You saved more than my life, she said. You changed my people. Mara gave a tired smile. That's kind of our thing. Outside, Zephyri ships turned away from human space. For the first time, the war did not end with surrender or destruction. It ended with understanding. And humanity had done what no weapon ever could. They had refused to give up. The Zephyri flagship no longer shook with weapons fire, but it was far from safe. Cracks spidered across the crystal walls, leaking faint blue light into the darkness. Emergency systems fought to keep the core stable, but every alarm said the same thing. Time was running out. Mara Cade sat on the floor beside the shattered throne, her back against cold crystal, breathing hard. Her arms trembled from exhaustion. She had pushed herself past fear, past logic, past every rule drilled into her as a human soldier. And now the price was coming due. The Queen's glow faded again, weaker than before. Saving the fleet had cost her precious energy. Mara, Queen Zyravel said softly, you must leave now. The ship will not survive much longer. Mara wiped sweat from her brow. I'm not leaving you here. You already saved my people, the Queen replied. If you stay, you die. Humanity loses a voice that fought for peace today. Mara looked up at her. Humans don't calculate worth like that. She activated her communicator again. Status update. Her pilot's voice came back, shaky with relief and fear. Enemy weapons are offline. Zephyr loyalists are moving to arrest the General's forces. But your ship, Mara, that flagship is failing. I know, Mara said. Prep for emergency extraction. There was a pause. With the Queen. Mara hesitated, then answered honestly. If we can. The Queen heard the exchange. My body cannot survive your ships, she said. Our atmospheres, our energies. Then we don't move you, Mara interrupted. We move us. The Queen frowned. Explain. Mara pushed herself to her feet and looked around the throne room. Humans don't always win by escaping danger. Sometimes we change the battlefield. She pointed upward. Your throne. Your ship. It's designed to amplify you, your energy, your authority, your presence. Yes, the Queen said slowly. Then let's use it, Mara said. Not to fight, but to live. Mara accessed the ship's internal schematics. The Zephyr throne wasn't just ceremonial. It was a control node. A living interface that tied the Queen to the heart of the ship. If I can stabilize the core just enough, Mara said, and reroute power through the throne, we might keep this section alive long enough for help to arrive. You would bind my life to a dying ship, the Queen said. Mara nodded. Temporarily. And if you fail? Mara met her gaze. Then we fail together. The Queen studied her for a long moment. Then, slowly, she nodded. Very well, human. They worked in silence. Mara tore open panels, rerouted cables, forced alien systems to accept human logic. She didn't understand everything, but she understood flow, balance, pressure. Human engineering was built on one idea: systems break, so design them to bend instead of shatter. The throne flared with renewed light as power rerouted. The Queen gasped, her glow stabilizing just a little. Outside, Zephyr support vessels moved closer, forming a protective ring. They did not fire. They waited. They are watching, the Queen said. Good, Mara replied. Let them see what peace looks like. Minutes passed. The alarm softened, downgraded from screaming to warning. Core breach delayed, the AI reported. Estimated containment. 12 minutes. Mara laughed weakly. We bought time. The Queen's voice was stronger now, though still fragile. You humans gamble with impossible odds. We call it hope, Mara said. A new transmission came in, this one calm, formal, respectful. Queen Zyravel, a Zephyr voice said. This is Admiral Sale. The traitor generals have been detained. Their fleets stand down. The Queen closed her eyes, relief washing over her. Thank you, Admiral. There is another matter, Sale continued. The human. She acted against all logic to save you. Mara tensed slightly. She did, the Queen said. And by doing so, she saved the Zephyr people from themselves. There was a pause. Then her life is under our protection. Mara let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. The throne's light dimmed again, but it did not fail. The Queen looked down at Mara. You risked everything for a species that once tried to erase yours. Mara shrugged. That's how humans end wars. The Queen smiled, truly smiled, for the first time. You have changed how my people see humanity, she said. But change always has a cost. Mara looked at her, concerned. What kind of cost? The Queen's eyes turned toward the stars beyond the viewport. Some will never forgive this. Peace frightens them. And one day, humanity will be tested. Mara nodded. We always are. The Zephyr support ships moved closer, docking carefully, stabilizing the dying flagship piece by piece. For now, the crisis had passed. But the galaxy had shifted. And everyone could feel it. The Zephyr flagship did not die that day. It should have. Every system failure, every warning, every law of physics said it should have broken apart and scattered itself across space. But it didn't. Piece by piece, Zephyr support ships fused stabilizers into its fractured hull, holding it together long enough to save what mattered most. The Queen lived. Mara Cade watched from the docking corridor as alien engineers worked in careful silence. Their movements were precise, respectful. No one spoke loudly. No one questioned why a human stood at the center of it all. She felt suddenly very tired. Her hands still shook from adrenaline and exhaustion. Bruises were already forming beneath her suit where gravity fluctuations had slammed her into walls. She was human again in the simplest sense. Breakable, small, temporary. A presence filled the corridor behind her. Mara Cade, Queen Zyravel said, her voice stronger now, carried through a mobile life support field. You should be resting. Mara turned. You should be on a throne, not walking around a half-dead ship. The Queen's silver eyes softened. I wanted to see the human who changed history before she left. Mara looked away. I didn't change history. I just refused to walk away. The Queen stepped closer, careful not to cross the invisible boundary where her bioelectric field still lingered. That is how history changes. Outside the viewport, HFY ships moved in coordinated formation, not for war, but for repair and defense. Human vessels hovered nearby, weapons cold, engines steady. For the first time, the two fleets shared space without fear. The generals believed humans were dangerous because you fight, the Queen said. They were wrong. Mara raised an eyebrow. We are dangerous. Yes, the Queen agreed. But not because of your weapons. Because of your choices. Mara leaned against the railing, looking out at the stars. We don't always make the right ones. No species does, the Queen replied. But yours keeps trying, even when logic says you should stop. A HFY officer approached and bowed deeply to the Queen. Then, hesitantly, turned and bowed to Mara as well. Human, the officer said, voice respectful. Your actions prevented a war that would have consumed us all. Mara blinked, caught off guard. I just did what I could. The officer tilted his head. That is what frightens us. He stepped away. Mara let out a quiet laugh. I think your people are going to need a new definition of human. The Queen smiled. They already have one. Later, as Mara prepared to return to her ship, the Queen stopped her one last time. There is something you should know, Zyravel said. My people record moments that redefine us. This will be one of them. Mara shifted uncomfortably. I don't need statues or stories. You will have neither, the Queen replied. You will have something far more dangerous. Mara frowned. What's that? Expectation, the Queen said. The galaxy now knows that when humans are faced with fear, betrayal, and impossible odds, they do not choose the easy path. Mara met her gaze. We choose the stubborn one. Yes, the Queen said softly. And that makes you unpredictable. Mara stepped into the airlock and turned back one last time. Your Majesty, if your people ever forget this lesson. We will remember, the Queen said. Because a human made us. The airlock sealed. As Mara's ship pulled away, the HFY flagship glowed faintly behind her, no longer a symbol of fear, but of survival. Across the galaxy, messages spread. Not propaganda. Not threats. Stories. Of a human who touched an alien queen and lived. Of a war stopped by truth instead of fire. Of a species that refused to step back when every instinct said run. And in war rooms, councils, and distant empires, one conclusion echoed again and again. Humans were not the strongest species. They were not the most advanced. But when the universe pushed them to the edge, humanity pushed back. And the galaxy would never forget it.